case, what is important is really not just population, but the struggle which we are making. I myself used to think some years back, that's before 1989, I used to think that Tibetans have such a small population, especially in exile, such a small population. And China has such a huge population, they have population, they have resources, all those things. And then His Holiness was going over and over. So I used to feel not depressed, because I never get depressed, but I used to feel a little bit kind of concerned. Then they were 1989 the Beijing Olympic. Beijing Olympic 1989, 2000, sorry, I missed it. 2008 is what? Sorry. So in 2008, when we had this Beijing Olympics, and when we were able to see all the supporters from all over the world, non-Tibetans climbing the electricity or in Beijing, unfurling the free Tibet flag. Then in San Francisco, on the Golden Bridge, people having been descending everywhere. And I said, okay, what is all this was saying all the time is right. If you preserve this really beneficial, compassionate culture and this value, there are many people in the world who like to have this kind of typical struggle to survive. Because it is not just Tibet, even in the free independent countries, there is discrimination, rich getting richer, poor getting poorer, and then what is always saying, like the important human values and ethics are eroding. So all these conditions are there. So therefore people see the Tibetan struggle is a good representation. So therefore people come and support it. And I get many visitors in Ramsar. During most of these visits, when I talk to the school, having said something, then I tell them, today Tibetans, led by His Holiness Dalai Lama, is undertaking this non-violent, totally non-violent, peaceful start. I don't have to elaborate this, more than 150 to 70 million without having to get a single Chinese. What other example do you want? You see? So the Tibetans, led by His Holiness, faithfully, honestly following the path of peace and non-violence. And now, if the rest of the world, international people, don't support this struggle, it will not only be the demise of Tibetan people, it will be a kind of representation of demise of the conscience of the people of the rest of the world. Next time, let us say, Tibet disappears. Next time, the human problems will continue. Next time somebody talks about non-violence and peace and conflict, they say, what happened with this non-violence, peace and conflict? What did the Tibetans get? Right? So I say, this is going to be a very bad example for the rest of the world. And in the history of the world, probably there is, I'm not a historian, so I don't know the details, but in the history of the world, perhaps the Tibetan kind of totally committed, not 1 year, 2 years, so many years, totally committed to non-violent peace. Probably is the only country with a leader. Of course, in some countries, the leaders were there, some people say that, but the country is a whole. So this struggle, therefore, has to survive for the benefit of the community. Right? So therefore, I would like to express my appreciation for continuous struggle. And as His Holiness the Dalai Lama says, people who support the Tibetan struggle, people who work for Tibetan cause, are not pro-Tibetan, anti-Chinese. It's pro-justice. This is a very important message. And as a Buddhist, in accordance with the guidance of His Holiness, the interesting thing is Tibetans hardly, I can't say all Tibetans, but generally most of the Tibetans, they don't harbor deep, hatred, things like that to the Chinese people. Right? Despite the suffering that they encounter. I'll tell you an example. For example, sometimes to be compassionate doesn't mean you become weak. You have to be very strong, tough also. And in fact, non-violence means no weakness. Practice of compassion is no weakness. It's tough. Without resorting grounds, just show your human integrity, human face. So that really needs toughness. If you resort to violence, use a weapon, you don't need any courage. Things like that. So therefore, I'm really glad that first of all we are supporting this topic. And then, as I was saying, this is not just issue. It's a global issue. Whether you talk about environment, whether you talk about peace, many people, many thinkers, writers, they say, if humanity do not take a drastic step now, already we've been here, to stop the environmental degradation, to stop violence, to stop the coming of the dictators, unless we be very careful, the world may not be able to sustain itself for the melting glaciers, all this is and we are passing through very dangerous process. So therefore, our contribution, we can change the world one night, but that doesn't mean that we cannot contribute. Many people think, oh, in today's world, we are like there is a system which is like a giant machine. When the giant machine moves, then we individuals just like a small cog in the wheel, helpless. I don't believe in that. Even if a small cog just come out, then the giant will stop moving. And that's why Martin Luther, revolutionary, said, please, Martin Luther King, he said, I don't feel sad when bad people do bad things, but I feel sad when good people don't do good things. Why I'm saying this is based on my own observation also. I traveled over 30 countries, although I didn't have much time to study and learn the culture and think about this, but you get some idea. Okay? So my fundamental belief is people, majority of the population, everybody in the world are simple people, ordinary people, good-minded people. They'll share your water, tea, bread, wherever you go. And the problem is for the stupid leaders. Really, they get the power. I have seen this not only in the case of the dictatorial systems, but also in the so-called democratic countries, where you have a stupid, short-sighted leader, and then the rest of the so-called cabinet ministers are basically employed by him. See? So they also, just to make sure that they are able to continue with their work, they also have their mouth shut, and then people are not support. So therefore we need to have a bigger picture of this impact. Because in human life, if you don't do something for the rest of the people, whatever it is, then you may be very rich, you may be very high, very popular, means nothing, really nothing. It is not just based on justice. Anything of person, you should do something that will outlive your life. What kind of legacy you are going to leave? That's very important. So what we do is, you are signifying especially in places like London, everybody, whether it's necessary or not, everybody thinks we should run in rush, but I always tell people it's not important.